Hello. Today we're going to look at two integer rules and the two adding integer rules. Now these rules are not hard, but together when there's 5 integer rules and we have to use them throughout several chapters, they become real tricky. So let's jump into this. Now I'm going to give you the rules. We're going to look at how they apply. Then I'm going to tie it into a real life situations. And then we're going to give you like a little trick, a little drawing to maybe help you to give you a more visual. So let's first look at the first rule. And for adding integers, and it says when the signs are the same, we add the numbers, then keep the signs of larger absolute value. What does that really look like? Well, let's look at it. First we check, are we adding? Yes. Are the signs the same? Are they both positive or both negative? In this case, they're both negative, so we're going to add them up. And then it says keep the sign of larger absolute value. Well, what's absolute value? Absolute value is how far the numbers are from 0. So the larger one, in this case, which one's further from 0? -5 is further away from 0 than -3. So let's apply this and solve it. Same signs, yes. Add the numbers. What's 3 plus 5? That's 8, so we're going to put in 8 here. Oh, sorry. Let's go here. 8. And then it says keep the sign of larger absolute value, which is the -5. It's a negative, so I make sure I have a negative here. Let's look at the next one. Again, same signs, yes, and we're adding. So what do? We add them up. What's 7 plus 2? That's 9. And then we keep the sign of larger absolute value. Which one is that? The -7, -2? It's the -7. My final answer is -9. Now, let's kind of put this in real life situations, okay? So let's look at the second one we just did, and let's imagine you owe your mom $7 and you owe your dad $2. Right, you have $0 on you, but what's your value? Well, if you owe your mom $7, you have to pay her back, and you owe your dad $2, you have to pay him back. Your value is 7 from your mom, 2 from your dad. 7 plus 2 is 9, but because you owe them and you have 0 money right now, you're at a negative value, at -9. Now let's kind of draw a little visual. Let's look at the first one, -3 plus -5. And we're going to kind of go over here. We're going to change. How many of you have ever been to the beach? Okay, and there's if you've been to the beach, you probably dug a bunch of holes, right? You make a moat or some tunnels, and then you also might make piles of sand or heap of sand. So we're going to kind of use the beach scenario to kind of give us a visual of how to figure this out. So let's look at -3 plus -8. Okay, so if we draw our line in the sand, and we have -3, -3, negative numbers are like holes, so we're going to draw 3 holes. 1, 2, 3. And now let's change the color for a minute. Now we're going to draw a -5. It's against a hole, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. How many total do we have? We have 8. 3 plus 5, but they were all negative. They're all holes, so that's where we got our -8 from. All right, so we can use it in real life situations using money, or we can draw a visual. Now this is heaps and holes. It's good for numbers when they're small. We wouldn't do them when the numbers get bigger. All right, let's look at the second rule for integers. Again, it's an addition rule, so there's 2 different addition rules. When the signs are the same, which is the first one. Now we're going to look at the second one, when the signs are different. So what do we mean by different? When one number is positive, one number is negative. So what do? Well, the rule says when the signs are different, we're going to subtract the numbers. And then we're going to keep the sign of larger absolute value. Wait a minute, we're adding, but yet the strategy is to subtract? Yes, that's because a positive and a negative is going to cancel each other out. And that's where the subtraction comes in. They're canceling. So let's look at it. -1 plus 4. Says subtract the numbers. So in your head, what's 4 minus 1? 4 minus 1 is 3. And now, which one is the larger absolute value? Which one is further from 0? -1 or +4? Well, +4 is further from 0. So we're going to keep that positive here. And I don't need to put a positive sign. Just any number is considered a positive when there's no negative there. It's just automatically considered positive. All right, and here's the next example. We have 3 plus -10. So we see that we're adding right here. but we see the signs are different. One's positive, one's negative. So what do? We subtract. So what's 10 minus 3? 10 minus 3 is 7. And now we have to keep the sign with a larger absolute value. Which one's further from 0? The 3 or the negative 10? The negative 10 is further from 0. So there's going to be more negatives. So when they cancel out, there's going to be 7 negatives left over. All right, so let's go back to our heaps and holes again. First, let's go back to our real life situation, okay? So we'll do 3 plus negative 10. So imagine you need $10 to buy a ticket to go to the movies, but you have 3. So you have $3, but you need 10. What's the value? What's your situation, the value you're at? Well, you need to borrow money. And so imagine your parents gave you $10. So you have 3, but they gave you 10. So you give them, you buy your ticket for $10. You can give them the $3 that you have, but you still owe them 7, or you'll have negative 7. Or look at the first example. Imagine you owe your mom $1, and then you do some chores around the house. They pay you 4. What's your value? Well, you can give them the $1 that you owe them, and you'll have 3 left over. And let's kind of look at our heaps and holes again. So I'm going to draw my beach area. And again, negative numbers are going to be on the bottom. So we have negative 1. Positive numbers are going to be on the top. Let's do red this time. And we have 4 positives, so we have 4 heaps. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, let's look at this. You might notice something here, and some kids notice it right away. What number does a pile of sand in a hole look like? Some of you might have noticed it looks like 0. Yeah, if you put a pile of sand into a hole, they're going to cancel out. What are you left with? 1, 2, 3, but there are 3 piles are positive 3. And that would work if we did the same thing here. Let's draw our number line, or sorry, beach. And now let's kind of draw our heaps and holes again. We're going to do 3 positive, 1, 2, 3. Now we're going to do our 3 negative. We'll do green. We have 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Notice once again what happened to the piles of sand in the holes. They kind of look like weird zeros. All right, so what are they doing? They're canceling out. That's why we're subtracting when the signs are different. But what are we left with? Well, remember the 10, the negative 10? It's further away from 0, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. But they're all negative, so we have negative 7.